Welcome, everyone. Today's session is sponsored, and so we're going to have a brief introduction from our sponsor today, and then we'll turn the time over to our panels for a great discussion on in-unit trends. So let me turn the time over to Greg Doyle, who is the National Sales Manager for Dwolla. Greg.
Good afternoon, everybody. How's lunch? It's pretty good chicken. Not too bad. I would like to quickly just do a couple of things. I'd like to introduce you to Dwolla, our smart community system, and share how we're purposely built to serve three key stakeholders. As many of you know, the journey to smart tech is complicated, fragmented, and quite frankly, sometimes it's downright scary. But it doesn't have to be. Dwolla was founded 7 years ago to take the complexity out of smart technology and smart communities. We've been implementing smart tech in multifamily for the last 6 years, and it's kind of nice to know that our original properties are still with us today. We've partnered with over 100 different ownership groups. We're in over 450 properties now across the country, supporting almost 400,000 devices on a daily basis. So what is a smart community? We call it a curb-to-couch concept that combines smart devices with custom software designed to deliver convenience, efficiency, and security to anybody that lives or works in a multifamily community. And what are the benefits? Well, reducing operating costs and obviously increasing NOI and revenue for owners. We focus on 4 key solutions: smart apartments, managed Wi-Fi, access control, and self-guided touring. As I mentioned earlier, Dwolla was built to serve 3 key critical stakeholders: owners, property managers, and residents. We know that each of these stakeholders have different needs and goals. Dwolla was built to boost the bottom line, level up on-site operations, and deliver the lifestyle that residents want. We do this by providing service that works harder. At every critical milestone along the way, Dwolla's expert teams provide support necessary to take your communities from 0 to fully operational. I know we have the opportunity to meet with many of you later this afternoon. We look forward to that and hope to see you at booth number 125. Thanks and enjoy lunch.
Thanks again to Dwolla and Greg Boyle for being a sponsor and making this happen. We're 24 hours into this event. For some of you that have been here before, this is a familiar routine. For those that are new, I hope that you're finding value in how this is structured. Obviously, the hosted guest model is a little bit different than most type of conventions, and our belief is that it allows for better one-on-one discussions between you and between vendors that you're interested in, plus the vendors having the opportunity to have that concentrated time with you, as you'll experience when you do the one-on-ones today. So please make sure you show up on time for your one-on-ones. I'm interested, so 24 hours in, just by show of thumbs, how are you feeling about the summit so far? Has it been good? Are you finding value in it? And it's okay to say no, but I like seeing a lot of thumbs up there that it feels like it's worth your time. Okay, I'm going to transition over here to the table and introduce our panelists for today. We'll go through each of them and have them introduce themselves to you. So starting off with Brad. If you went to the keynote last night, you heard from Brad already, but we'll get him to introduce himself again.
Great, yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Brad Russell with Interpret Market Research. We've been really pleased to partner with AE Ventures recently, both to conduct some research that we develop, and then in just a moment, I'll share you some recent findings in a multifamily pulse study that was developed by AE Ventures and we helped them field this summer. So I think you'll like to see some fresh data. So happy to be with you today.
Thank you, Brad. Next up, Chelsea.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chelsea Nealand. I'm with Lowe's Pro Supply. I believe this is my 2nd year being here, first in person. You might have seen me virtually. I hear it was great. I don't know. But I'm thrilled to be here and have this conversation with you all today.
Next up, we've got Justin Foster, who you also heard yesterday during the keynote.
Hello, Justin Foster, Director of Community Technology Services for Cortera. Cortera is a development company, so we are a developer, typically the general contractor, and the living operator as well.
And last but not least, Catherine.
Hi, how are you? Catherine Siegel. I'm a Vice President of Client Services for Bozzuto Management Company. Our firm is a vertically integrated real estate company. We manage about 90,000 units across 260 assets. We focus greatly on Class A and high-rise within our firm, and I'm really excited to be here today as well.
Well, terrific. We are going to be focusing on trends that are happening inside the unit. Now, tomorrow morning, we'll move from inside the unit to the shared spaces, and you'll see some familiar faces on that panel as well. So I'm going to turn the time over to Brad, and he's going to walk us through some specific questions from the survey that relate to in-unit trends, where we are now and where we're going.
Great, thanks, Brandon. Brandon thought it would be a good idea to kind of set the foundation so we can introduce a number of systems and devices and features, and then certainly everybody else on the panel will have their own experiences with these. Now, this survey data I'm going to share with you is from a survey of 166 representatives of multifamily builders, developers, remodelers, and a few managers. I will say that I think the best way to interpret this data is that it probably leans towards new builds. Although there are some property managers included. I mean, these numbers are pretty high, I agree, and so I think it's best to interpret them about what are the new properties coming online, what are they including, and I think that filter kind of makes a little bit more sense. So we'll talk a little bit about what's being installed today, and then we have a question about what do they anticipate, how that might change in the next 2 to 3 years. So currently, I don't think it's much of a surprise that we see like the top 4 things here that are very much kind of smart building oriented. The wiring systems, the smart home apartment systems, green efficient tech features, air filtration and cleaning systems. I think in most of my experience in researching multifamily, the driving rationale usually for entry into smart technology has been driving that revenue bump. But then you see as people have more experience with technology, they start realizing more of that operational savings side of the business rationale, and we heard a great presentation about that this morning. So as we move down this top tier of amenities, we see things like healthy tech, post-COVID, is starting to rise as we think about indoor air quality, touchless surfaces, water quality. LED lighting has been a way to add a lot of wow in some very simple ways, whether that's through like LED lighting strips in the kitchen or things like that. Electronic locks, of course, have been a mainstay, along with thermostats. That's kind of the entry-level package. Now, as we get into the second tier, we get into things like bulk managed Wi-Fi networks and more connected laundry appliances, voice control, shading systems, and other things. What I think is even more interesting is when we ask the future question, and that is, in the next 2 years, what percentage of units that you develop, build, maintain, or renovate will include these in-unit amenities? And the little percentages on the right-hand side is the basic growth points over that 2-year period. And so certainly what you see is that things that were on the bottom tier today, several of them are going to see some significant increases in interest level among multifamily operators. And so alarm systems, you might think, well, but a lot of multifamily don't have alarm systems for in-unit. But of course, this would include people who are building condominiums and other kind of form factors than just standard multifamily. Again, electronics are going to continue to be popular. Bulk managed Wi-Fi networks, connected kitchen appliances. We know that, as I said last night, that it's almost de facto now that almost all of the new appliances coming online are going to have some level of connectivity. Televisions and video displays, which normally you wouldn't think of that would be kind of a renter or a tenant. But we're finding more and more in all kinds of housing, whether it's student housing, right, where the TVs and videos, the screens come included, or housing that serves really mobile populations, and they don't want to cart all this stuff halfway across the country. And so we're seeing more AV systems and audio systems and things that are becoming installed as well. And then finally, so it's really interesting to see how even things like EV charging and other things are really going to rise in popularity in the next couple of years.
So what our hope was, I'll take that, is that we're going to take those items that jumped up in percentage points, and we're going to talk about each of them.